Hi, I'm Rick Funk from Funk's Toyota. Our family has been in the automotive business for over 45 years. That's 45 plus years of looking after customers. We have a top worldwide recognized product that we are proud to be a partner with Toyota Canada. Every new and used vehicle is negotiable when it comes to purchasing your vehicle here at Funk's Toyota. Our staff of many years is very knowledgeable and will help you, not force you with your buying decision. There are no hidden fees and no pressure tactics. Not only that, we promise what we deliver and have one of the best used vehicle warranties in the business. Our staff love to serve and you will feel like family after your first visit. We are not perfect, but we love to please here at Funk's Toyota. For those of you that have experienced our Funk's Toyota family way, please share it with others and like us and share us on Facebook. We are proud to be a sponsor of the Manitoba Amateur Sports. Visit us online at www.funks.toyota.ca.
My name is Will Stryline. I have Theo Tutkiluk alongside. A great episode here today. We're going to first touch on senior hockey, but as the night goes on, we have Westman sports updates. We have some sports from up north in Norman, the MJHL report, AAA hockey report. Lots going on. First off, though, Theo, we're going to get into senior hockey playoffs underway.
Thank you very much, Will. Great to have you with us. The man who knows everything in and outside Brandon, Carberry, Verdon, that whole western side of things. Great to have you on the desk with us. Unfortunately, or fortunately, maybe Roy just can't be with us, so that's okay. So we'll see how tonight goes. We'd like to thank Funk's Toyota for this Manitoba Sports Desk, our third one so far, as well as Get Empowered. Get in touch with them for your cell phones, your iPads, and much more. Your authorized TELUS dealer. GetEmpowered.ca. You won't be sorry that you did. Like we said, it is the playoff edition in the senior men's Southeast Men's Hockey League. Series A, B, and C are all finished up. Carmen wins 3-0 over the Portage Islanders. We'll get more to that with Aaron Wilgosh later on. Altona wins over Morden 3-0, and we have Warren leading 2-1 over Winkler. And that game will be finished. There's a third game on tonight starting at 8 o'clock, so after we're done, maybe check out them and see how it's going on over there. That is the Southeast men's. As for the Tiger Hills, they went through their quarters already. We had McGregor beating 3-1 Pilot Mound. We had Wawanesa taking out the Souris Elks 3-0, 3-love for them. The Hartney Blues were beating up and have defeated the Deloraine Royals 3-0 as well. And lastly, in the quarterfinals, Cartwright defeated Minnedosa 3-1. A really close series, couple games or one game there going to overtime, so not too bad. And as for the semis that are still going on right now, Cartwright leads Neepawa 2-0, 6-4 and 3-2 of the games there for Cartwright. Gladstone beating McGregor 2-0 there. A 10-4 score and then a 7-6, a much closer one. They're finished in overtime. And then Series HBC Boissevain with Hartney, and they're up 2-0 against Hartney. Again, two close games, a 5-4, and then Boissevain picking it up in Game 2, defeating them 6-1. And then lastly, we have a series tied between Killarney and Wawanesa, 1-1. 9-5 was the Game 1 for Wawanesa over Killarney, and then 4-1, Killarney took Game 2. As for some of the season awards, well, no ifs, ands, or buts. Notre Dame was the number one team, leading 32 points, 15-3-1-1 record. Scoring winners, Matt Gingera and Aaron Lwadnik, both with 42 points apiece. The MVP went to Matt Gingera from Notre Dame. Morden's got the best goalie, 3.2 goals against average, but a 919 save percentage. There were a couple other goalies that were better in the percentages and the wins. However, I think Reed Peters kept that team together, and that's the reason why he got the Goalie of the Year award for that one. And lastly, let's look at the Rookie of the Year, of course, from Notre Dame, Jeff Michaels, 16 goals, 6 assists, 22 points. The Carillon, last but not least, let's touch on that one real quick. Will, I'll be going there fast. Here we go. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of playoff, and these men's teams are biting it out hard. So here we go. Semifinals is the best of 7 on both sides. We have Grunthal Red Wings versus the Lac de Bonnet Blues, 0-0 still. And the St. Anne Aces are taking on the Red River Wild. And that one, it's still, they haven't started yet. They're going to start up early next week. So those are your semifinals for the Carillon Seniors Hockey League. Top scorer there, Keith Grandin, 19 goals, 18 assists, 37 points in just 14 games. And the Rookie of the Year again from St. Anne, Vaughn Dupre, second in the league in scoring with 35 points, 18 goals, 17 assists. That is your Men's Hockey League report around Manitoba, brought to you by, yes, I don't remember. I'm sorry. We already touched on that one. GetEmpowered.ca and Pembina Valley Chrysler. Thanks very much. That is your senior men's hockey report. Will.
Thank you very much.
That's a lot of stats.
It is a lot of stats. And you know what? Just taking a look at a couple of the series as they went on. St. Anne in the Carillon League, top 6 league scorers throughout the regular season. That is going to be a tough team to defeat offensively. 137 goals for. And you look at next best, Grunthal, 103. How do you stop an offense like that?
Well, it's very much similar when you look at the AAA that we'll get to later on in the show when you have the Wild and the Wheat Kings 1 and 2. One is amazing offensively, and you have to wonder which one is going to be awake during playoffs or have enough rumption to go into the finals as well. You know, maybe a team is a little built for playoff and they're ready just to hold off a little bit and say, you know what, we haven't shown all our face cards just yet. We're still holding them close to the chest, so to speak. But both teams are going to be really strong going to the playoffs, and they are.
Keeping a look at the Southeast Manitoba Hockey League, you got Notre Dame, they got the bye. How important is it for a team like that, you know, to get that rest going into the playoffs and getting to see what your competition brought to the first round?
Well, you know that these teams are going to be battle-bested. I mean, they're looking at 4 good teams going in at it. Notre Dame getting the bye. They were there last year. They won it last year. They know how it's all done. So I think for them, they're more prepared, enjoying the fact they had a little bit of rest. Maybe a little rust on the skates. I don't know. We'll come and see that what happens.
And one quick one on the Tiger Hills Hockey League. 3 series really that are more than likely going to end up as sweeps. You've seen the offensive power that a lot of these teams have, but taking a look at the Killarney-Wawanesa series, a big win for both teams, really getting, you know, a 3-goal, 4-goal differential here. Game 3, the final in that series, going February 21st at Killarney, and really getting everything up in the air as we get into the semifinals in Tiger Hills.
You're right. The Jets and the Shamrocks there, they're going at it pretty good. And it's good to see one team get a win each because you don't really know and you don't really want to see 3-0s. I mean, you'd love to see, you know, good battleground playoff series, and it could go best of 5 for those 2 teams, and it could go a little bit longer. As for the other series that are going on there, maybe they get finished early, maybe they get a bit of rest to see. Who knows?
So that is the Senior Men's Hockey Report. We will quickly move on into the Westman Report. We were going to have a call-in, but unfortunately, that is not able to happen tonight, so I got the reins on that one. And the Westman Report brought to you by Pantages Hair Salon. And first off, one of the big things happening in Western Manitoba is Brandon University. It is playoff time, and the focus is on men's volleyball. They are the number 4 team ranked nationally across U Sports. They have the number 4 seed in the standings after the Canada West regular season. And just for the fun of it all, they get to take on number 5 in the first round, which starts this weekend and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Healthy Living Center. That happens to be a Manitoba rival in the University of Winnipeg. And these are 2 teams that have proven time and time again they really don't like each other all that much. They played a home-and-home series at the end of the first half of the season, November 29th. It was at the University of Winnipeg at the Duckworth Center. The Westmen, they fall 2 sets. BU looks like they're going to have control of the match. All of a sudden, something changed in the third. Winnipeg comes back to take it in 5. 3 days later, they come out in Brandon. Winnipeg does the exact same thing that Brandon was doing. They jump out 2 sets. And then Brandon says, you know what, you did it to us, we can do it to you. And then they claim that game in 5 sets. And then for the first time this year, Winnipeg, instead of hosting basketball for the Westman Classic, hosted volleyball. Well, of course, Brandon in the tournament, they get to play University of Winnipeg. They kind of go at each other a couple times, and BU takes that one 3-1. So they've already played each other 3 times this year. And you got guys from Winnipeg like David's Bombers back, who's a 5th year, who's now played Brandon 15 times in his career. And you got guys from Brandon, the likes of Seth Friesen, who's really come on big time this year for BU. He was a guy who subbed in last year, filled in during injuries, came out this year, their number 1 hitter on the team. He's been beating teams up off the left-hand side. They know each other very, very well. This is going to be a fantastic series. So as mentioned, that series gets started on Friday. That's Game 1. Game 2 is Saturday. Game 3, if needed, is Sunday at the Healthy Living Center in Brandon. If you can't be there, have no fear. I will be calling those games. So those ones will be coming to you on the Canada West TV as well, so you can catch those actions for Westman fans out there. In women's volleyball, this is a team that was really growing this year. They had 6 rookies last year. They had 6 more rookies on the team this year. And their head coach is on sabbatical this year in Lee Carter. So they have a new interim coach taking over in Kevin Neufeld. He's done a fantastic job. Got them to 10-4. They lost out on the playoffs by about 1 game. They got swept by Alberta in the last week of the season. Alberta, again, going to be in the playoffs to the women's side. So they missed the playoffs. But there is one great record here for the statisticians out there. Michelle Egger, a rookie from Switzerland playing for BU, broke the Canada West and I believe the U Sports record for aces this year. She hit 71. 71 aces this year. The record was at 54.
How does someone from Switzerland, or from Sweden or Switzerland?
Switzerland,
come to Brandon and demolished by aces? I mean, that's fantastic news. Congratulations, well done. Certainly a stat that might stand up for quite a while. And if you look at that women's volleyball team, one quick moment, like you said, 6 rookies last year, 6 more this year. It's a kind of a flip-flop for the men's team when you have all the 4th and 5th seniors that are looking to end the season with a high note. These ladies coming in, I mean, that team looks pretty solid in 3 or 4 years, I think, and they could have a really good senior year, like you said, in 3 years.
They are a team on the up and up, and it's going to be fantastic to watch, especially once Lee Carter comes back. It was kind of interesting during the home-and-home series here in November, December. He was actually in town, even though he's on sabbatical. So I got to watch his interim coach, Kevin Neufeld, do his thing, and he's been a great job there. He is well known for the volleyball programs at Neelan High School in Brandon as well. Looking to the basketball side of things, not as good of a season for the BU teams. They figured it was going to be a good year for the basketball team. The men's team did make an 9-11 record. They made it into the final playoff spot. The RPI put them up into 10th. They got to take on Manitoba in a one-game series. Unfortunately, they lost that game 82-76, so they have been eliminated. The women had a season where they should have been growing a bit better. They had a number of fifth years in Michaela Stanton and Keisha Cox, and unfortunately just didn't really turn out for them at all this year, so they missed the playoffs. It was a hard-fought season, and props to them for sticking it through. And they got a really good player, actually, who was coming out of Thompson last year, or second year this year. Great three-point shooter, so we'll see how that develops going forward. And then, of course, out west, there is the Westman High School Hockey Playoffs. It was a dominating season for Vincent Massey, 24-0-0. They did not fall once through the regular season. And Coach Don Landry made it kind of clear he wasn't happy that his team didn't get a provincial ranking, a top 10 ranking at any time this year. This week it was the provincial play-ins, and his team wins their game against Verdun. So they're likely going to be heading towards the 4A provincial playoffs. We'll touch more on that as we get into the hockey or high school hockey wrap-up later on. They have Verdun, the Golden Bears, in the first round. Verdun 15-8-1, pretty good season for themselves. Massey, however, winning that season series, 2 games to none. The other series we have Dauphin, who was 22-1 against Deloraine Hartney. Killarney-Wawanesa, who was 17-5-2 against Glenborough Carberry, which is 15-7-2. And then Hamiota will take on Major Pratt in the 4-5 game. Hamiota 19-4-1, Major Pratt 15-7-2. And all those series, if they're not starting this week, Killarney-Wawanesa is already actually underway. Killarney won that first game 5-2. They all start either on the 23rd or the 24th, so the Westman High School Hockey Playoffs really getting into full swing in the next week.
We just want to clarify one thing as well. Will did touch on a weekend provincial seeding tournament or bracket, if you will, where Vincent Massey had to play this and other teams, provincial teams and not city teams, had to play a tournament this weekend or a round of games so they get seeded into the provincial high school hockey league. So this is something completely separate to their league. So for these teams, they got to play 2 separate games and worry about 2 separate types of opponents, but they're playing the same teams. I agree with you. Vincent Massey, with a perfect record, should have had some kind of ranking in the top 10 throughout some part of the season. I mean, they have always had a good program for the last 3 years, winning the provincials the last 3 years in a row, soon to be the 4th, I think. So you think for that team and their head coach, you would hopefully see some sort of maturity and some sort of transgression into a top 10 because of how well they've done in recent years. However, maybe that just adds more fuel to the fire, more turpentine on it, if you will, to see them kind of progress and kind of excel and say, you know what, we're going to take this provincial by storm. We're going to show who's boss.
They are a very physical team. Last year in the Westman High School final against Killarney-Wawanesa, it was probably the most physical hockey I've ever seen at the high school level. They hit just about everything on the ice, and they'll wear you down if they have the opportunity to do it. So, yeah, look out for Vincent Massey if you're heading to the 4A provincials.
Absolutely, and they could be a force to be reckoned with, and they could take some Winnipeg teams by storm. You know, coming the end of March, I believe they start playing. End of March, early April is the provincials.
Let's double check.
I think it's something around those dates.
March 9th, 10th, and 12th is a 4A tournament. That's going to happen right here at the Bell MTS Iceplex. The AA tournament is taking place in Killarney at the Shamrock Center. If you've never been there, fantastic rink to play hockey in. And speaking of the provincial qualifiers, 3 teams did qualify for that this year from Westman, Deloraine, Glenborough, Carberry, and Major Pratt. So that tournament taking place March 8th to 10th.
Fabulous. Great news. So we'll leave it at that. We'll take a quick break here. We'll get back to the Zone 4 boys playoff bracket that is now finally into the semifinals. Catch back with you in a couple minutes.
Are you looking for a career in the salon industry? Check out Aveda Institute Winnipeg in the Exchange. What sets us apart is our student mentorship program, 95% placement rate after graduation, real-world salon experience, and network of 7,000 salons and spas. You will learn creative cut and coloring, latest trends and techniques, social media marketing, fashion shows, photo shoots, and more. Now accepting applications for 2018, so check us out and book your tour today. Aveda Institute Winnipeg. Hair school the way it should be. At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind, with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
Welcome to MB Seeds. I'm Matt and this is B, and we're a family-run business. We've been operating since 2012 and we sell canola, soybeans, corn, wheat, barley, oats, and peas. We also run a cleaning facility on site just south of Low Farm where we can clean almost anything that you can grow. Come check us out today.
Theo Tutkaluk alongside the man, the trio, Will Stryline here, coming from you three ways for more than one. We got the Westman, we got the Zone 4 High School Report. More playoffs coming at you here. Brought to you by GT Hockey. Thanks for joining us here on the Manitoba Sports Network. Quickly, I love the Zone 4 playoff bracket because it's so well organized now. They've gone 1 through 8. The main seeds, the one that were supposed to win, won the best out of 3 series all the way, except for we had the Tigers versus the Nighthawks, 3 versus 6, and the Tigers came away with a 2-1 or series win, 2 3-1 victories, Game 2 and Game 3, to come over the Nighthawks. So they advance. They take on the first place Miller Aces, and the Morris Mavericks will take on the Thunder from Morden. Both semifinal series start tonight. There's no break on Family Day for these 4 teams as they head to the rinks and battle it out. Game 1 for both of them. They will be best of 3 series as well, so should be a tight match for both of them, I think. Especially for the fact that each team has played at least 2 games, some 3. They understand what playoff hockey means. I think the Aces have a really good shot. And that Thunder Mavericks program, that battle is going to be really good, I think, for both teams. Look for that one to be closer. Might go 3 games. What do you think, Will?
3 games would probably be the way that one goes. A pretty evenly set of teams throughout the season. Morris 16-8, Morden 14-10. Both teams really on the same level. So very interesting to see what it goes that way. When it comes to the W.C. Miller Pembina game, 161 goals in the regular season for W.C. Miller. It's going to be a tough offense to stop.
You're an offense kind of guy.
I am always offense. You got to go for it.
Stats guy 1, but offense number 2, and that's what you like to do. I like that. Good. As for the Aces, I mean, they didn't have a great deal of damage against the Zodiacs. I mean, they won the games 9-4, 5-3 respectfully. A lot of offense there, but you know what? I think it's their 2-way game that's really going to allow them to be strong and take out that Tigers team in 2 games.
Absolutely. Moving on to the Westman High School once again. Get into what happened this weekend. It was a busy week for all the teams in Western Manitoba. The provincial qualifiers were underway. So from the 16th to the 18th over the weekend in Russell, it was the AAA provincial qualifier. 8 teams were in that one. REM getting the first round win to take on Deloraine. And Deloraine winning that match 5-4 in overtime. So the number 1 team being put to the limits early on in the tournament. Glenborough Carberry taking on Boissevain, a 6-0 victory for GCB, a very convincing victory for them there. And then Major Pratt getting a 7-3 win, the Russell team over Roblin, moving on into the second games that were taking place on Saturday. Deloraine, as mentioned, getting that 5-4 win. GCB getting a slight victory over Major Pratt to move on into the Sunday final where they took on Deloraine. And again, a 5-4 win. Very tough set of games for Deloraine. That game going into double overtime, but they get the win and the number 1 seed for the AA Provincials. In the consolation final, REM getting the loss here 6-5 over Major Pratt, getting that win. That game also going to overtime, so lots of extra hockey being played. Major Pratt gets a wild card. Those 3 teams, so Deloraine, GCB, Major Pratt, now qualified for the AAA Provincials that are taking place in Killarney. Quadruple A qualifications also took place for Western Manitoba. Dauphin opening up with a 5-4 win over Verdun. And then Vincent Massey has talked about 24-0. They're going to keep it going here as they get into the postseason with a 5-2 victory over Dauphin. And the Quadruple A Provincials taking place, again, March 9th, 10th, and 12th right here at the Bell MTS Iceplex. And just to reiterate the way the playoffs are working, it's the provincial qualifier to a separate provincial tournament, and then there's still the Westman High School Hockey League as well. Again, Massey taking on Verdun. Game number 1 is on Saturday, the 24th. Dauphin, Deloraine, Hartney. That first series starts on the 23rd. They go throughout the weekend. No rest for the wicked over there. Killarney Wawanesa versus Glenborough Carberry. It's the 14th. The first game went to Killarney 5-2. They play the second game on Wednesday, and then again the third game, if needed, on the 25th. And the Hamiota team against Major Pratt in the 4-5 game. That is the 1st, 23rd, and 25th. So all 4-game series set and ready to go in the Westman High School Hockey League.
Did we mention it's playoff season?
It's playoff season.
It's playoff season. These teams are ready to go. I mean, regular season is done. Playoffs are in. Congratulations to the Dauphin team and as well the Massey team getting into the provincials. Again, here at the MTS Iceplex, March 9th, 10th, and 12th. That report, the Westman report in the Zone 4 report, was brought to you by GT Hockey. We'll be back with our Northern report. We got a gentleman coming in, Stuart Walter, to join us here from Norman Thompson. We're going to talk with him some of the AAA, some of the Junior A programs, and what's going up in the paw, if he knows what's going on, perhaps. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Curie with Fair & Fitness. We're located in Ile-des-Chênes, Manitoba. We do everything from personal training, group training classes, yoga, and flexible steel. We also focus on young athletes. We do not only just the strength and conditioning, but the agility, power, rotational control and strength, and flexibility, stability, and mobility is always super important. You can find us at fairandfitness.ca and come check us out.
I think it's a pretty good program, getting to be on the ice every day and meeting new people from all over the world and playing with new teammates that I've never played with before.
The competition you play against is unbelievable, and there are hardly words to describe how amazing my past 3 years here have been.
I love being on the ice every day, and it's a great opportunity for girls that want to play a higher level of hockey.
The academy is great here. There's really nice people here. The town is great. It's a nice little quiet town.
I like the fact that we're on the ice every day and that we get to experience new opportunities here and get to play with different girls.
Well, I think our school has been awesome. The one-on-one situations that we have with our teachers has been great.
It's a good change, and I think that living in Canada and going to school is a great opportunity for me to learn new things.
At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
Sports Network, the Manitoba Sports Desk here. Family Day, Louis Riel Day. Thank you for joining us here. The next segment here brought to you by CM Engrave. ccmengrave.ca for all your trophies and medal needs. You won't be sorry that you did. We have Stuart Walter via FaceTime. Stuart, good evening, sir. How are you doing up there? Well, it is Manitoba. It is Thompson, so you know we're used to it, right? Okay, so We're just going to do a little thing here real quick. Hang on. All right, there we go. Now we can hear you. Fabulous. We'll touch on a couple of teams here. Thompson and, the Norman North Stars. Let's touch on them. Quite a season they've had. They had quite the losing season up until the beginning of December before they recorded their first win, going 5 wins, 40 losses. How does a team like that keep its intensity, and especially come weekend games coming up here?
The boys seem to have really short minds when it comes to their games. I was on the road with them, with our last road trip during that ugly 20-1 loss there at the Iceplex, and they were ready to go for the next game against Central Plains. So they have a very short memory when it comes to games, but they just don't seem really to care all that much about the losses. They just want to prove themselves to hopefully get to a junior A or a major junior club. Sounds
good. I mean, you talk about it. I mean, a lot of losses, but the wins they've had, they've had some pretty impressive wins, including a Thrashers 2-1 win on Friday. Is that correct?
Oh, that was one of the best games I've seen them play all season. That and the win over Central Plains earlier in the year were two of the best games. But you like you said, just mentioned that one, 2-1 over the Thrashers on Friday. To be fair, I think the Winnipeg team was a bit lagged from the 8-hour bus trip up to Thompson that day. But give all the credit to the North Stars. They battled hard. All the scoring was in the third. Jordan Foe is a kid who got the game winner. It's his 7th power play goal of the year. He has 8 goals in total. So just a power play specialist when it comes to the goals.
He seems to find the space on the ice and then putting it in the twine, and that's great for him.
Steps up from the blue line.
So how many of these players are looking to next year? Are they going to make the roster? Is there a lot of turnaround for this roster upcoming? What do you see in there for the near future here for the upcoming fall season?
There's about 4 or 5 players, obviously, who are going to be aging out of this age group. I think a few of them have a chance to make it with some clubs. I know Braden Melstead, who's our starting goaltender this season, who was with the team as a backup last year. He's a way Wolverines prospect. And I think he has a shot at least making the club, if not the junior B side for them, if only because their stats suck. Because it's hard to play defense on the North Stars occasionally, but they're a lot better than their statistics say. They're facing 60, 70 shots a night. I believe there was 71 shots in the game on Saturday against the Thrashers, and he faced 50 of them. So he's an example of a player whose stats aren't reflective of his play.
So short memory is great things for younger players. Knowing that a new game is on the horizon is number 2. And their coaching staff has to be able to be pretty pleased with this group of young men for the fact that they're able to just muster up a great effort game in and game out and really not worrying about the stats, like you said, just looking to play great hockey and hopefully making next year's squad.
Yeah, and the coaching staff are a great group of guys. They really get to know the players, and I wouldn't start saying they're friends, but they're at least on friendlier terms with them, so there's that mutual respect, and they know how to definitely get them going when they need to.
That's great news for the North Stars. Let's switch bases just a little bit. Let's talk a little MJ action if you're ready, Stuart. The OCN Blizzard now, they were a bit of an issue. They weren't thinking they were going to be able to field a team last year. They were thinking of, folding perhaps. And here they are already clinching a playoff spot this year, which is fantastic news. Not a team that has a goal scorer really in the top 20 of the MJ scoring leaders. They do it guilty by committee, if you will. 4th place. Who would they like to see come in the playoff time?
Well, I don't think they are really caring all too much, especially after last year having a great run in the playoffs all the way, and they don't really care, I don't think. Obviously, Portage is someone who they might look at and want to play. They're leading the season series 3-2, and that's actually their next game on Wednesday. But I also look at a team like Winkler, who's around them in the standings, so they've played fairly well against this year, but also have success in the past in the playoffs against.
Right, so OCN right now holding that 4th place, Winkler holding that 5th. There's a big, cluster, if you will, between 3 and 6. You're absolutely right. Portage, they have the upper hand on them. If they play them, do you think it's going to be more of an issue of traveling versus playing, or is it something where you hope they just can squeeze one out and beat Portage in their own barn and take a couple back home? What do you think?
I don't think travel is an issue at all for any of these northern clubs. I've only been in Thompson for a year, but just getting to know the teams, they're used to going on these long road trips from when they're playing Pee Wee and Atom hockey all the way up to when they're playing junior hockey. So I don't think the road wearies is a bit of an issue for the northern teams. I think if they say against Portage in the playoffs, Portage is the ones they're going to have to deal with the 7-8 hour drive to the PA to play the few games. But like you said, I think they're just going to have to squeak out a few ones at Stride in Portage if that's who they end up playing.
So let's talk about the home barn for the OCM Blizzard. You've been up there for a year, like you said. How different is it playing up there versus playing in other rinks that you would have seen in the past? Like, I remember playing up there 20 years ago, and it was a devil. Like, you wanted to get in and out as fast as humanly possible. Is it the same kind of idea up there, or is it a little more friendlier?
It's really loud. It's very passionate fans. Hockey is one of the few things that there's not a lot to do all the time here in Thompson, and unless you're outside, you're inside watching hockey or curling, and so just everyone goes there and packs the barn. A lot of people standing, and they're not shy about making their thoughts known. Not shy about making their thoughts known, absolutely. That's what I remember for sure. Tell me, what is the strength of this Blizzard squad this year, and how is it they're going to use that strength to make it into the finals, maybe make another push into the semis, into the finals this year? Well, one of their strengths, you said, and you were absolutely right, they don't have that top-notch goal scorer. They don't have that top-notch offensive threat. But they do have Anthony Keeper, a former Norman North Star. His brother Brady was a league MVP last year, now at the Maine Black Bears. He has about a point a game person. He has 50 points in 51 games. The other strength that they have, there's two players who don't necessarily get all the credit that they should, but there's Emilien Boyle, who's their starting goaltender. He's a former major junior goaltender who had a few stints with Drummondville, who's been absolutely solid this year. Then there's also Jesse Roach, who got the 10th of his season to win the game over Wei on Friday, and he's another guy, like I said, who's played major junior. He's had parts of 2 seasons with Vancouver, and then parts of 2 seasons with Edmonton. So it's that veteran leadership, that veteran presence that knows how to get the job done when it counts. Great. So we touched on the Blizzard, we touched on the North Stars. Any other sporting events going on in Thompson we should know about? Well, the 48th annual Munn Cup just wrapped up the other day. It's a very long-standing tradition. It's more of a northern thing, but it used to be provincials for the Adams way back in the day. The AA Adam King Miners won the Munn Cup, beating Swan Valley 5-0. And there was 21 teams this year, including a few from Rankin Inlet and Arviat up in Nunavut. So that's always a fun time. Very busy. I could hardly find a parking space for the North Stars game on the Friday and Saturday night because the arena was just packed for the Munn Cup. The other thing going on, the Norman Midget AA finals are starting this coming weekend in Cross Lake. It's the King Miners against the Cross Lake Islanders. King Miners coming off a sweep of the Norway Health North Stars. Best of 5 series. Should be some good hockey coming up in the north. Fabulous news, Stuart Walter. Thank you very much for joining us up there from Thompson, Manitoba. Keep warm, put the Grey Goose on, and have a wonderful, great playoff run, playoff stretch with the Blizzard. Thanks for joining us again. And let's quickly touch on, let's say congratulations to the PAW, one of the 3 finalists for the Chevy Good Deeds Cup. We'll see how they fare when voting ends later this year. Congratulations. Thanks, Stuart, again. Have a great evening. Thanks. We'll be back on the Manitoba Sports Network with the Sports Desk with the MJHL report. Say that 3 times fast. Talk to you soon.
Are you looking for a career in the salon industry? Check out Aveda Institute Winnipeg in the Exchange. What sets us apart is our student mentorship program, 95% placement rate after graduation, real-world salon experience, and network of 7,000 salons and spas. You will learn creative cut and coloring, latest trends and techniques, social media marketing, fashion shows, photo shoots, and more. Now accepting applications for 2018, so check us out and book your tour today. Aveda Institute Winnipeg. Hair school the way it should be. At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind, with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
We're in our third year with the boys program. This year we've actually added girls to our program as well. We run from September till June. We have our own dorm set up now. It's a great exposure program, great development program for the fact that we're on the ice every day, and we have workouts every day. We track our kids' grades closely, so the education is the utmost importance to us. And so it's an excellent program, and of course the Canadian Sports School League is the premier league, and we're glad to be part of that.
Welcome back to the Manitoba Sports Desk alongside Will Stryline. He found his seat again. I'm Theo Tutkuluk. We're back in action with the NJHL report. I said it right the first time. Brought to you by Pembina Valley Chrysler and Pembina Valley Physiotherapy and Sports Injury Center. And so we'll do a quick recap of Saturday's games. No games on Sunday. It's the Lord's Day, days of rest. On Saturday, we saw Wayway lose to OCN 2-1. Steinbach defeated Dauphin 4-1. Winkler losing to Swan Valley 4-3, and Verdun, the Oil Capitals, blanking the Selkirk Steelers 3-0. We had 3 games today on Family Day, thinking it might be a second day of rest. Will, who won today?
So there was 3 games that took place this afternoon. Steinbach getting the 4-3 win over Winkler. Out in Wayway, Sakapo, the Stampeders running away with it 7-0. And the Portage Terriers getting a squeak-by victory here. They beat the Neepawa Natives 6-5 in Neepawa, right in the thick of that playoff race.
And we talked about Swan Valley last week, and we'll talk to Aaron about that as well, because he had mentioned how great Swan Valley is playing. 7-0, a great game for them. I mean, they're playing in that 9th or that 8th spot right now, holding on to that playoff spot and trying to get some separation from the Neepawa Natives. So congratulations to them as well, of course. I mean, you expect Steinbach to do what they do. And Portage getting that sneak-out win against Neepawa. I mean, they're holding on to that 3rd place. And having that 1-2-3 spot is probably more crucial, having the home advantage for that first series.
Yeah, especially when you look at the way the standings have played out so far this year. There's a bit of a gap between Portage and OCN between 3 and 4. Steinbach obviously running away with everything. But the Verdun Oil Capitals, a team that has been building over the last couple of years since they took over, they've made the playoffs just about every season, I believe, under Tyson Ramsey out there. But as things move forward, it's a very interesting thing is going to play out here when you look at some of these teams. You got Winkler at 64 points, Winnipeg at 58, Selkirk at 58, Swan Valley at 54. And then, as mentioned, Neepawa, the loss and win for Selkirk today doesn't help their cause that much. But Neepawa, a team, making the playoffs for the first time last year in a number of seasons. And I was at the game where they clinched the playoffs, and I don't know if I've ever been at a party at a hockey rink like that before. It was you could just feel the jubilation in that team, and you know that they want to get that back.
Absolutely. And we touched on Swan Valley already. They've got 1 game in hand against Selkirk still, so they have that opportunity to potentially tie them up and make it a 3-way tie. I mean, considering how these last 5 games go for these teams, I mean, 58 is that magic number right now. I think 64, 66 is going to be that number that the 8th place team is going to have in getting into that playoff room. So if we look quickly at the goaltenders, I mean, nothing has changed up there. The Steinbach crew, between Matthew Thiessen and Matthew Radomski, still leading the way. I mean, both those goalies, fantastic between the pipes. They are definitely, I mean, if you look at Steinbach, they've got a Rookie of the Year potentially. They've got the leading scorer in Bradley Schoenbart. and they've got two great keepers in net. I mean, Steinbach is showing that they have a pedigree of having top to bottom a great team and potentially could make a run to make a championship as well. Dexter Kuchik doing great jobs there with Winnipeg. He's kind of led the Blues, especially in the month of February. He was player of the month, and he's really stepped his game up and really given Winnipeg the opportunity to really get into that playoff run. So as a representative from Winnipeg, the only team, I mean, they're sitting right now in that 6th spot. They still, I mean, not to give them any bad luck or well, but hopefully they can hold on to that 6, maybe climb into 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's one of those situations where if you can keep climbing, it's coming down to the end of the season. Can you get that home playoff spot? Probably not. Steinbach, the only one to actually have clinched that so far. No one's going to overtake them at the top. So it'll be interesting to see. Can Winkler make that climb? Can they get over top of OCN? That home playoff day is going to be huge, especially with the travel that's going to happen in a series like that.
And we talked to Stuart about that. I mean, that travel up to northern Manitoba, that's an 8-hour trip, and sometimes 9 or 10 if you're playing from southern Manitoba.
Or if the snow is falling.
Exactly. So, I mean, you got to take everything into consideration. And, I mean, the teams that are playing from the north are already road tested. The teams that are playing from southern Manitoba, an hour and a half, 2-hour trip isn't bad. But when you have to take that 8-hour trip, you're looking at that schedule and say, we just got OCN? Okay, now we got to deal with that in the friendly environments up there in northern Manitoba. So, like you said, 5 games left for some of these teams, some of them 4. I mean, is there much wiggle room in the standings here, Will? I mean, you really think about it. I mean, between the Blues and the Steelers and the Stampeders, I think that's going to be the race to watch in 6, 7, and 8. I think, like you said, 1 through 4 is, I mean, 4 and 5 can move back and forth, but 1 through 3 is pretty set up.
Top 3 teams definitely set up. OCN, Winkler, anything can happen. It's 3 points. That can change in a matter of 2 games very quickly. And then, like you say, it's going to be that bottom half of the bracket where you stack up. You want to be able to get yourself out of that 8th spot. Going to Steinbach might not be where you want to be for the first round of the playoffs. But, maybe you want to be that underdog. Maybe you want to get that upset as well.
Absolutely. So that is your MJHL report brought to you by Pembina Valley Chrysler and Pembina Valley Physiotherapy and Sports Injury. We're going to touch base with our buddy, our pal, our good friend of ours who's got a toilet seat behind him. Maybe not today, but Aaron Wiggall will be joining us here in the next segment. We'll see what he has to say about some hockey in Portage, some other sports that are going around the Central Plains area. We'll be back with you in a short, quick minute.
Are you looking for a career in the salon industry? Check out Aveda Institute Winnipeg in the Exchange. What sets us apart is our student mentorship program, 95% placement rate after graduation, real-world salon experience, and network of 7,000 salons and spas. You will learn creative cut and coloring, latest trends and techniques, social media marketing, fashion shows, photo shoots, and more. Now accepting applications for 2018, so check us out and book your tour today. Aveda Institute Winnipeg. Hair school the way it should be.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Curia with Fair & Fitness. We're located in Ile-des-Chênes, Manitoba. We do everything from personal training, group training classes, yoga and flexible steel. We also focus on young athletes. We do not only just the strength and conditioning, but the agility, power, rotational control and strength, and flexibility, stability, and mobility is always super important. You can find us at fairandfitness.ca and come check us out.
At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
All right, back here at the Manitoba Sports Desk, it's Will Stryline with Theo Tukkaluk alongside, and we also have joining us Aaron Wilgosh from the Portage Daily Graphic. Thank you once again for joining us here this week.
Thanks, Will. Glad to be here, buddy.
Plenty of things going on in the Central Plains Portage area. Let's start off. We were just doing the MJHL report. We'll go right into that. Portage Terriers in the thick of it right now, sitting number 3.
Yeah, I mean, they just had 2 big wins over the Neepawa Native. The Natives are pushing hard right now, trying to get into that 8th playoff spot in the MJ, but Portage is just, they've had their number all season long, and they had it again this weekend, a 6-3 victory Friday night, and a comeback 6-5 win tonight. They actually just went not too long ago, about 45 minutes ago, scored the game winner with 2 minutes left. Ryan Sokolowski, between the legs, bar down. It was incredible.
So what was the situation in that game for the comeback? What were they sitting before they put it away?
You know, after the first, it was 3-1 Neepawa. Neepawa looked good. You could tell the desperation was there. They were really pressing. And every time Portage climbed within 1, Neepawa extended their lead to 2 again. So they were up by 2 basically the whole game. Third period came about, and Leipzig managed to get them within 1. Then they took Sokolowski all alone in front. Like I said, actually had the cojones to go between bar down over Brendan Benoit, goaltender for the Neepawa Natives blocker side.
What do things look like going forward here for the Portage Terriers as they try to secure number 3 and potentially the number 2 spot over Verdun?
Yeah, you know, I mean, personally, I think they'd be better suited in that 3rd spot going up against Winnipeg, but I mean, there's still some playoff jostling going around, especially between the Verdun Oil Caps and the Portage Terriers. I think they're in 3rd there with this other win from Portage here tonight, so it's going to come down to the very final few games, but personally, I'd like to see Portage go up your time, and I just pray Swan Valley doesn't get into 7th, because Portage has trouble with the Stampeders. They've done overtime and beating them a couple games this season.
We touched base on the Swan Valley team, Reese, just in the last segment, Aaron. We mentioned winning 7-0 today. As a sitting in the 7th spot, you don't want to have that number 2 seed like you mentioned, and Swan Valley's had Portage's number. Wanted to quickly touch on Mr. Leipzig, sitting 4th now in the standings points-wise. Has he taken that lead with the team? Has he shown some maturity and really taken the reins of the team outside of the coaching staff to say this is what we got to get done and this is how we have to move forward in the final games of the regular season?
Yeah, it's two are the leading voices in the dressing room, on the bench, on the ice, by leading by example. Chase Bray, beast if he got back, and I feel like could have 3 or 4 goals a game, but he just out of that puck and look for that extra pass for an easy tap in and goal. But they're actually on the ice. They know what they're doing out there, and they're 3rd-year players with the Terriers now, so they're out there trying to make sure everyone's doing the same thing. Leipzig blocked a shot from and went in shorthanded and scored on a breakaway, so they're out working the penalty kill, the 5-on-5, and they're getting it from 3 lines right now too. Line is Joey Moffat, Jared Roy, and a defenseman, Troy Williams. You're getting offense from a 4th line and then your 3rd, 2nd line. Like tonight was just both teams were battling all the way through until probably the last, and then Portage really took over and showed they belong in seed, but it's just a wild year.
It's playoffs, man. That's what happens. That's what goes on. So
yeah.
let's leave the Terriers for now. Let's touch on the high school scene, the men's, the ladies. How are we doing? What happened with the ineligible situation, we'll call it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some people have seen it on Twitter and heard about it. PCI Trojans, they were eliminated from the Zone 4 Hockey League. You're beating Valley in a Survivor Series game. Now, the problem was the game before, one of the received a match penalty. Game sheet didn't make it to the commissioner until after the Survivor Series game. So after this game, they won, and the commissioner found out, you played with a player. We actually have to count that as a forfeit. And it seemed a little bit suspect at first, but in the league rules, it says the only coach, and you would think with a match penalty being
into the game, that a coach would know a suspension is probably going to follow that, and that's exactly what happened. And unfortunately, it ended their season. It hard for the grade 12.
So it's one of those situations where you want to, ask for forgiveness later, but unfortunately get caught with your tail between your legs. And what's going on with the ladies? You said the ladies are still in the playoff rounds as well?
CTV division, top division, they're going up against the number 1 seeded St. Mary's Flame on Wednesday night. St. Mary's, I believe, lost 2 games. I don't have my stats in front of me, but 2 games all. The Saints took them to overtime once and then lost by a goal and the other time they played. So this is a really good matchup I like for PCI. If they can show up and get the goaltending from Morgan Clausen and all 3 Schwaliks show up and wheel and deal, these girls, they can go all the way, and it's going to be starting Wednesday night in Winnipeg. Morgan Clausen, what can you say? Goaltender, and she's moved over to hockey and has gotten the 3 years I've been watching die. And if she stands on her head, St. Mary's could be in trouble.
All right, we can also take a look to AAA hockey because, in Central Manitoba, hockey kind of rules supreme here. The Central Plains Capitals boys sitting 9th in the standings right now, 3 games left here in the regular season. What do they need to do to claim that final spot to get into the Manitoba AAA playoffs?
Well, 16 goals in 2 games is a good start over the weekend.
That's pretty good.
Taking Southwest, the team ahead of them with 8 goals and climbing 1 point behind 9th position right now, trying to get into the playoffs, and then beating the Bruins the next night. Again, just a seriously dominant performance. The thing is, the Caps dealt with their injury struggles at the beginning of the season. October, November, they lost a lot of players. Logan Calder, Logan Rance, Tanner Boyle. They lost some really good players, and they didn't have Riley Funk at that point. So they ran into a losing skid, and it really hurt them. But they got Funk back, they got Rance, they got Calder. All 3 of them put up 5 points this weekend. 7 points in 15 games. He's without a point in 1 game for the Capitals this season. So he's pushing for an MVP case for sure. And the way that Riley Spystrup has been, the kid is just putting everything he has into his final season here with the Caps. I think he played his 108th game in AAA Hockey League against Brandon, and again had a huge game. Out on Twitter at @Wilgosh. I've got some of his saves on there. They're just insane. 3 or 4 saves in a row, and they're getting it from everyone. Head coach Brad Nijenko is thrilled. He knows that a lot of other teams are starting to run into that injury problem, and if that keeps happening and the Caps keep rolling, they just takes out Southwest so they can hop into that 8th and final playoff spot, and maybe even 6th. If you look at the standings, the Caps can even hop into 6th place with a couple of wins.
Got right into the next question I was going to ask there. Where do you think they're going to finish? You get Winnipeg Wild here this week, and then you got a double up against the Kenora Thistles on the road.
Well, the Wild have whomped the Caps all year. They have not had playing again. So, using that momentum, right? Everything has to be left on the ice. You can't leave a single thing out there. You can't have any regrets. It has to happen now, because now you waited too long. There's only 3 games left. You didn't get into the playoffs. Or never. Kenora, that's another story. You go out there, you don't know what you're going to get. You might get odd wrecking. You might run into a Kenora Thistles team who's just ready to take you out and play spoiler. We know how teams love to play spoiler toward the end of the season.
Doug Novak is very much a system kind of guy, and he gets his players getting to their systems every time.
Yes, so I actually think the Caps will be able to pop over Pembina Valley. Pembina Valley they have a lot of injuries right now. There's a lot of turmoil going on inside of the Pembina Valley system right now, and it's showing in their game on the ice. So Pembina Valley has a couple of tough games coming up, and if the Caps can get 4 points and Pembina Valley doesn't get a single one, the Caps are going to hop ahead of them. So it's just all about riding the rails here and keeping the pedal down all the way to the end.
Absolutely. You look at Pembina Valley. They play Brandon this weekend coming up, and you look at the 3 games that Central Plains face, 2 in Kenora. Like you said, the only thing that I could see them facing is a hot Cooper Hatfield in the pipes for Kenora, but 4 to 6 points is a pretty good potential for this Capitals team, and they could jump into 6th and 7th spot, because we also know the Thrashers are kind of struggling right now too. So, I mean, from 5th to 9th, I mean, there's still lots of wiggle room there, and nothing is settled, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's what Brad Janko, head coach of the Caps, agrees with you 100% there. He believes this team is in their prime right now. They have a shot to really make some noise, and if they can just get into that final playoff spot, it'll be a whole nother season. And with them in the position they are with no injuries, they've got a full roster. The Bruins were in town and they were depleted. I think they had a 13-man bench to the Caps 16 or 17. So when you're putting out numbers and you can roll 4 lines over and over again, it's going to pound those teams down. And I really like the way they're playing now. I think they're going to go into Kenora, like you said, barring a hot goaltender or maybe some spoiler-esque run that the Kenora Thistles want to go, which we know they can.
Wouldn't be the first time. They did it 2 years ago.
Exactly, and they've beaten the Caps this season. So don't count them out, but it's going to be a really, really exciting race to the finish here.
And just to finish up here, we also had the girls AAA midget getting into the playoffs, but not going the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were swept by the Westman Wildcats. They did match up well, but the last 2 games of the year, Westman actually shut out the Caps and 4-0. So they were going into the series without a goal in the last 120 minutes versus the Wild. And first period troubles. You don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but if you're not going to get goaltending in the playoffs, you're not going to go far. And 5-goal first periods in Game 1 and Game 2 absolutely cost the Capitals, because after that, they were 1-goal games.
All right, anything else to add?
Aaron, anything else you want to bring up for Portage for the Central Plains area?
Tough year for the Portage Islanders. They finished in 6th place in the Southeastern Manitoba Hockey League, and I picked them last week to beat the Carmen Beavers in 4 games, and they were swept in 3. Zach Waldvogel went down with a knee injury. He's one of their top scorers, went down in Game 1. Renee Hunter, another key cog for the Islanders, received a match penalty, was suspended for the next couple of games. So they were down to, I think, 11 guys on the bench in Game 2. Carmen was overflowing, and they just couldn't keep up with them. So they're ready for the offseason. They're rooting for the Notre Dame Hawks, and they're going to try and add some more power up front in the offseason.
Sounds good. Aaron, thank you very much for joining us here tonight.
Thanks, guys. Fun as always.
Always. Aaron Wilgosh with the Portage Daily Graphic. We'll be back in a couple minutes here on the Manitoba Sports Desk with Will and Theo.
Are you looking for a career in the salon industry? Check out Aveda Institute Winnipeg in the Exchange. What sets us apart is our student mentorship program, 95% placement rate after graduation, real-world salon experience, and network of 7,000 salons and spas. You will learn creative cut and coloring, latest trends and techniques, social media marketing, fashion shows, photo shoots, and more. Now accepting applications for 2018, so check us out and book your tour today. Aveda Institute Winnipeg. Hair school the way it should be. At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind, with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
Hi, I'm Rick Funk from Funk's Toyota. Our family has been in the automotive business for over 45 years. That's 45 plus years of looking after customers. We have a top worldwide recognized product that we are proud to be a partner with Toyota Canada. Every new and used vehicle is negotiable when it comes to purchasing your vehicle here at Funk's Toyota. Our staff of many years is very knowledgeable and will help you, not force you with your buying decision. There are no hidden fees and no pressure tactics. Not only that, we promise what we deliver and have one of the best used vehicle warranties in the business. Our staff love to serve and you will feel like family after your first visit. We are not perfect, but we love to please here at Funk's Toyota. For those of you that have experienced our Funk's Toyota family way, please share it with others and like us and share us on Facebook. We are proud to be a sponsor of the Manitoba Amateur Sports. Visit us online at www.funks.toyota.ca.
At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
And one last segment here on the Manitoba Sports Desk tonight, the AAA Hockey Report, brought to you by Super 8 West and CM McGrave. Again, Will Stryline, Theo Tuktakuluk, and plenty of action still underway in the midget AAA leagues here across. In girls play, the quarterfinals over already, I should say. Pembina Valley getting the best of Interlake. They advanced pretty quickly, 2-0 series there. Westman, as mentioned earlier, as we were talking with Aaron Wilgosh, they took down Central Plains with a 7-2 and 2-0 victory. And then Eastman getting the best of the Yellowhead Chiefs up in Shoal Lake. And that, again, those two games, however, going to overtime, both 2-1 victories. Game 1 is actually double overtime. Game 2 is a single frame, so the Yellowhead Chiefs doing everything they can, but the Eastman Selects getting the best of that. So that sets up the semifinals. Still working on the schedule. There's only about 2 games set to go as it stands right now, and that will be the Winnipeg Avros versus Eastman in the 1-5 game. And Game 1 is set for February 28th. Game 3 is set for March 4th. We don't have the other 3 games set for that yet as Eastman figures out their arena and their scheduling. And then the 2-3 game, as it works out, Pembina Valley taking on the Westman Wildcats. We're still waiting for the dates to be announced for that one, but that is how the semifinals of the Manitoba Female Midget Hockey League have shaped up here within the province. And we were chatting a little bit as the show goes on, obviously, with our guests. Midget AAA hockey for the boys as well. The couple games left to go. We can recap what happened here over the last couple games. A busy week last week. On the 17th, it was Brandon getting by the Wild 5-4. The Thrashers getting a big 12-5 win over Norman. Eastman, a 5-3 win over Yellowhead. Parkland beating Pembina Valley 5-1. It was Kenora getting a shootout victory. 4-3 over Interlake, and Central Plains beating Southwest 8-5. The next day, another 5 games hit the ice. The Bruins getting beaten by Central Plains 8-5. A 1-0 shootout victory for Southwest over Eastman. It's always fun when a game never sees a goal in regulation. There's a lot of tension in that one. Another shootout. There's 3 this night. Pembina Valley beating Parkland 6-5, and Kenora getting another one over Interlake 3-2, and then Brandon beating Yellowhead 8-2, and then we'll look forward to this week. A couple games pretty big now in the playoff race.
We have 1 game on Wednesday, 4 Friday, 5 Saturday, and then finally 4 on Sunday. There is a lot of jostling going on here, especially from the 5th through 9th spot in the AAA Midget Men's Hockey League here. Wednesday, we'll see the Wild take on the Central Plains. We already touched base with that with Mr. Aaron Wilgosh. Friday, the Bruins take on Norman. Brandon takes on Pembina Valley. Eastman takes on the Winnipeg Thrashers, and Parkland and Southwest will settle up on Friday night. Then we go to Saturday. One Saturday, we got 5 games. Yellowhead versus the Wild. Brandon and PV play that second game in 2 nights. Interlake versus the Thrashers. Bruins will take on Norman yet again, and Central Plains will then go to Kenora and take in the first game of their 2 set, which they'll finish on Sunday, because we have 4 more games on Sunday. Did we mention it's almost playoff hockey? It's Central Plains versus Kenora, the Thistles. Wild versus the Eastman, Southwest versus Parkland again, and Yellowhead versus Interlake. It is a barn burner action this upcoming weekend for these AAA teams because there is no playoffs yet. We're going to settle it all up, and we're going to get ready for playoffs the following week. Like we said earlier, Will, 5 through 9, there is only 5 points separating those teams.
Just about anything can happen. The Thrashers sitting at 53, Central Plains in that 9th spot at 48, and then you got Yellowhead, Pembina Valley, Southwest in the mix. And, you heard it from Aaron Wilgosh. He expects to see Central Plains jump as high as 6 quite easily here.
It's possible because if they have, like you said, the roster is healthy. There's very little injury. They're on a high, scoring 16 this past weekend. I mean, they have a potential to take 4, if not 6 points of their last 3 games. And you look like a team like Pembina Valley, who is struggling in the locker room, who is playing Brandon in the last 2 games of the weekend. I mean, they have a potential to go 0-4. And if they go 0-4, they're stuck, currently at 51. And Central Plains could go up to 52, which would mean they could be that 9th team, that 9th place team with no movement and out of the playoffs.
You can look at Southwest as well, a team with the potential to move up. They get a home-and-home series with the Parkland Rangers, who have struggled this year. They've only got 37 points and just 16 wins to show for it. So it's been a difficult season for them. So they get a home-and-home series there. So another team that potentially jumps up and leapfrogs Pembina Valley. So, yeah, in that middle race is as tight as can be. When you look at the 3-4 spots between the Bruins and Eastman, 61 points, 57 points, maybe Eastman gets the opportunity there. The Bruins, though, playing good hockey all season.
Bruins, like we said, like Aaron told us, they had a really short bench this past week, but they take on Norman. And Norman's not a really strong team, but they can always play that spoiler. I mean, this is a team that forgets quickly how well or how poorly they played in their previous game and get ready for that game that's coming up right away. They could play spoiler. I mean, but the thing is, the Bruins have so much offense, and they're led by Sven. The guys, really putting the puck in the net. They're a fast team, and they're a team that really plays a neutral zone collapse, and they really start by passing the puck wide, moving the puck wide, and then attacking forward. So I think the Bruins can outskate Norman for their 2 games. I think they could at least grab a couple of points, if not 4. I think they're solid in that 3rd spot.
And then there's 2 more spots, of course, in the playoffs that we're looking at. And if there was odds makers, these would be the 2 favorites, I would say, to get into the league final. The Winnipeg Wild and the Brandon Wheat Kings, both sitting with 38 wins and 2 overtime losses, 78 points. It gives them Winnipeg, however, 1 game in hand. So they've got the open go-ahead right now to get that number 1 spot heading into the postseason.
And I think that's going to matter when it boils down to the finals. I mean, the Winnipeg Wild, the Brandon Wheat Kings have been 1-2 the entire season. You look at their goals, 4 goals against, I mean, the Winnipeg Wild, 304 goals for to 97 against, incredible. And 250 to 117, respectfully, for the Brandon Wheat Kings. So they're certainly not a slouch, but offensively, I mean, they're popping in 56 extra goals. And the Wild are a force to be reckoned with, led by Mr. Bettens, of course. I mean, you look at the top 7 scorers, 3 of them belong to the Wild, I think. 4 of them belong to the Wheat Kings. You look at the goaltending, I mean, it's Minor versus Minor, and you throw a Kilpatrick in there and a Hatfield. I mean, these 2 teams are stacked. And if you had to pick stacked teams to not make the finals, I'll take that bet that they will.
Yeah, and like the regular season games between them have been hard-fought contests. We had one here at the Iceplex earlier this season go into a shootout between the 2 teams. Very much, they stack up very well. It's from what I've seen, the Wild are a far more offensive team. It shows in Brandon. They like to run that cycle where Brandon kind of runs that stretch pass counterattack, and they've found success with it all season as well. So really that Minor and Minor as the matchups that I've seen so far this year, that's going to come down to it. The last game I saw between them, Miles Minor didn't look all too solid in net. Kind of figured it out late on as the Brandon Wheat Kings picked it up, and Winnipeg squeaking out the win in that one. But really, it comes down to the net minding for me in this series.
Absolutely. And you look at the stats are pretty similar between both of them. It's who's going to keep the puck out one more time than the other. It's really going to come down to it. Like you said, Brandon plays a controlled cycle game, and the Wild play that quick strike. The one thing that I've noticed with the Wild, they can be pretty with the puck when they should be more forceful with it. Instead of making that extra pass, they should get that extra shot. Both teams realize, though, that when that first shot hits net, the rebound clearance or the rebound collection to get a second chance is most important. And I can't remember which Minor faced a slap shot this past weekend from Big Buff, but
that would be Miles from the Wild.
Miles from the Wild faced a Big Buff slap shot or half slap shot.
The one-handed slap shot.
The one-hander commander from Big Buff. But needless to say, a little bit of fun for him. Look forward to these 2 teams come playoff run. Of course, we'll be mentioning them in the upcoming month because I'm sure they'll make it to the finals. Do you see a surprise team? I mean, if Central Plains gets into that 7, do you think they can make a run, or you think they're going to get quickly halted? I mean, who's to say? I mean, the Bruins, maybe they're playing posse and maybe they're resting some of their players. I have no idea, and it's really up to the 3 to 8 team to really make a push if they want to do something in the finals.
I think the team that would be the upset here would probably be Central Plains. You know, you heard it. They've got guys healthy. They've got a guy who's got 30-some-odd points in 15 hockey games. He's not missing the net, and he's being successful when he's putting the pucks on, which is a huge factor. You get against a team like the Bruins, and, you know, you get an upset there. And then in the second round, maybe you got your legs, your confidence going with you when you take on the likes of the Winnipeg Wild or the Brandon Wheat Kings.
So let's quickly touch on the Thrashers. I mean, they're
Yes.
a Winnipeg team. They're sitting now in that 6 spot. They got 2 games this weekend. One against Eastman, which is ahead of them in the standings, and one against Interlake, I believe. Is it Interlake? I can't remember. Yes, Interlake on the Saturday. 2 out of 4, 4 out of 4, 0 out of 4. What does this team have to do to say, okay, we don't want to limp into the playoffs, but we got to make it to the playoffs, or else we're going to have trouble?
It's really a matter of a team that needs to find an identity. You know, this is a team that, you know, if you follow the Manitoba AAA Hockey League, you're used to seeing in the top 3 spots. You know, a couple years back, they were the national champs. They have shown that they are a program that produces a winning program every year. So the fact that they're sitting right now in the middle in a potential still to be knocked out of the playoffs is quite surprising for them. You even look at the last couple games here. They go up and they get a 12-5 win over Norman, but the night before, the North Stars getting a 2-1 victory. So it's a team that really might need to have to find an identity. Are you going to be a puck control team? Are you going to be a dump and chase team? Are you going to be a defensive team and just wait for that counterpunch like the means of the Brandon Wheat Kings?
Or quite frankly, I think for the next 2 games, you have to be that team that if you have 5 goals scored against you, you got to score 6.
That helps.
You got to have that mentality, because if you don't, you've got 4 teams below you that are just waiting to smell blood
Chomping
in the
at
water
the bit.
and waiting to be that killer shark just to leapfrog you. Because quite frankly, I mean, the Thrashers, you are that pedigree of a great team. They just haven't shown it. And I think they themselves have to become the shark and say, we got to get ours, and we got to feed on the chum that's in front of us and get the 4 points.
So your underdogs, the Thrashers?
I think the Thrashers, you know, I mean, I grew up in the Shark system. My brother and I grew up in the Shark system. I mean, that's, you know, we've always been keen to the Thrashers program. But I tell you, there's such a great group of guys playing for Central Plains, and they're healthy and they're strong. I like what Eastman done over the last month or so. They're staying in the thick of things. They're staying in that spot, that 4th spot. And I really like the way the Bruins play. I mean, quite frankly, when they take on the Blues, I like them as my underdog, and here's why. They play under your skin. They get just under, they put the stick in there. They get you to cause that retaliation penalty. They get on the power play. I really like what their coaching staff does by stretching the play east and west and then moving north and south. Their defensemen move the puck extremely well. As a defenseman, you learn to take 2 quick steps, pick your head up, make a play forward, and they do that very well, the Bruins organization. Their first year in AAA hockey, they've done very well. We've interviewed a lot of their players over the year, and they've done very good recruiting. But more often, the thing that I noticed with the players was it's not because they played with each other this often. It's because they know them so well that their teammates playing against them. And knowing what they do well as teammates against them, that's made them that much stronger to play together. So I like the Bruins to maybe be that dark horse outside of 1-2.
All right.
Anything else you want to add about AAA hockey today?
That is all I got, my friend.
That is all we have today. Manitoba Sports Desk, round 3. Will Stryline, Theo Tutkaluk with you, bringing more goodness to the greatness. I told Roy I would say it. There it is. Have yourself a great evening. Happy Louis Riel Day. Happy Family Day. Enjoy your work day tomorrow morning.
Good night.
Hi, I'm Rick Funk from Funk's Toyota. Our family has been in the automotive business for over 45 years. That's 45 plus years of looking after customers. We have a top worldwide recognized product that we are proud to be a partner with Toyota Canada. Every new and used vehicle is negotiable when it comes to purchasing your vehicle here at Funk's Toyota. Our staff of many years is very knowledgeable and will help you, not force you with your buying decision. There are no hidden fees and no pressure tactics. Not only that, we promise what we deliver and have one of the best used vehicle warranties in the business. Our staff love to serve and you will feel like family after your first visit. We are not perfect, but we love to please here at Funk's Toyota. For those of you that have experienced our Funk's Toyota family way, please share it with others and like us and share us on Facebook. We are proud to be a sponsor of the Manitoba Amateur Sports. Visit us online at www.funks.toyota.ca.
I think it's a pretty good program, getting to be on the ice every day and meeting new people from all over the world and playing with new teammates that I've never played with before.
The competition you play against is unbelievable, and there are hardly words to describe how amazing my past 3 years here have been.
I love being on the ice every day, and it's a great opportunity for girls that want to play a higher level of hockey.
The academy's great here. There's really nice people here. The town is great. It's a nice little quiet town.
I like the fact that we're on the ice every day and that we get to experience new opportunities here and get to play with different girls.
Well, I think our school has been awesome. The one-on-one situations that we have with our teachers has been great.
It's a good change, and I think that living in Canada and going to school is a great opportunity for me to learn new things.